everyone, and welcome to Star Wars Legends of the Sprawl at Chaotic Neutral Games. I'm Simon, your DM for tonight, as we join Felicia, Ed, and Corinne with their adventures at the fringe of Imperial space. Don't forget that you can help or indeed hinder by using your channel points in the game. Check out the options in the chat bar. You can also join the chaos by clicking the Discord link below or work towards the session twist, and we need to have a few more, by becoming a subscriber. So let's rejoin the players for their, kind of continuing, start of their new mission that I'm calling Jerk Chicken, as we go back a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And welcome back, everybody.
Greetings.
So, hello to our players.
Hello.
Right,
we are still alive somehow.
Yes, despite the heat. And at the moment, I was telling some of the players this earlier, I can't open the players. Open the windows. The heat is getting to me. I can't open the windows in front of me because then you'll be able to hear the breeze through the mic. And I can't open the windows to my left, because at the moment we've got people below me barbecuing, which means that I'll smell all the lovely smoke that's coming up, that smells of meat, and also we'll be able to hear them. So I've just got to sit in my living room and sweat. So, wow.
Yeah.
You will just have to die.
Yes, I will. That is how it goes. So, I was going to do a bit of a recap, but then realized that I'm not going to cover most of what you guys remember. So I was like, you know what's a good idea? Get in the place.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
I will
take
start
notes as well.
I will start, but I will
It's
leave
been
you guys
more
to fill in
than
the
1
gaps.
week, Simon. You can't expect me to remember.
Well, I will allow you as part of the recap to ask questions rather than state it. Okay. Jordan is... Oh, yep, okay. Never mind. Apparently you got it. Right. But thank you anyway, Jordan. The last session, you guys had a session called Reflections, which was you just kind of taking a look at some of the things to do with the story, doing some investigations, asking questions. And you decided as part of that just to go to revisit the mission that you had for JT. Now, that was the Shame Den. If you remember that we went to before, you're on the same planet now. And
no, we went to a different planet.
No, sorry, different planet. This is the planet. This isn't the Shame Den planet. Sorry, this is the planet that JT was abandoned on. Sorry. Yep. Sorry, I just realised I'm telling that wrong. It follows on to the Shame Den, but it's a different planet. It's the same type of planet. It's a safari planet. But this one is special because it's the one that JT was abandoned on. You started going through the lodge, the hunting lodge, and we were reminded that JT stands for
Jerk transport.
And that JT's original function was that he was an LEVO that straight off the line was turned into a specialist safari droid so that he could take rich kids out so that they could go and kill something and feel powerful, with a droid that was far better at it than they were, keeping them safe. You managed to gather a few odds and sods. But one of the last things that you got, JT, is that you had a bit of a flashback, a recovered memory, with the help of, I think, X4 helped you.
Yes.
As you were picking up various items that allowed you to repiece the image file of your memory, and you remember people freaking out. You remember the jerk that you were currently responsible for pulling out a device and overriding you, the equivalent of a restraining box, and you going into a combat mode where your IFF was infected. You do know that there was some sort of creatures there, and you do know that there was some sort of gunfire going on at the launch. Other than that, the planet is overgrown, and it's a little less manageable than you remember it, JT, because a few years have certainly gone by. So, any questions? Being that we've had a couple of weeks, are there any questions that you would like to recap over?
No questions, just a little more scene painting. Because we haven't taken our usual ship here. JT has bought a burner ship.
Oh yeah.
A fire spray.
Yep.
Which he is paying to trick out in the future, but for the moment it's like the bog standard, like clean, just recently sprayed.
Yep.
Fire spray. So,
for those who don't remember what the fire spray is, or at least can't put the image, because everybody knows the image, but they don't necessarily know the name. The fire spray is the model of ship that Django and Boba Fett used. The elephantine, very strange, although weirdly when you look at it in terms of landing on planets and things like that, it makes a weird amount of sense. Type of ship that lands on its back, effectively. So it doesn't land on its bottom; it lands on its back, directly opposite the cockpit, at least the windscreen of the cockpit. And so you brought that ship with you. So you have left the Lakota behind.
Indeed.
Which means that you don't have your medical droid, the extensive cargo bays or anything like that, but what you do have is a huge amount of deniability.
Yes, indeed. And JT wasn't actually expecting anyone to come along with him. He thought he was going to go and do this by himself, but the other two insisted.
Yes. We're like, yeah, of course we'll come with you.
Yeah, you want to go kill some idiots who wronged you? Yeah, we'll do that.
The one thing about the fire spray, despite its very strange shape, it's very good at combat. Pretty much the kind of trunk of the elephant shape is almost entirely a power bank for the turret that's on the front of it, the twin turret. It packs a punch. It's considered to be, I guess, a gunship rather than a fighter.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah,
just
about. Yeah. It's one of those weird things that's neither fish nor fowl, but it's quite popular and quite successful in a lot of battles. As long as
the other thing about it is it has space for prisoners.
That's correct.
Which is the other reason JT brought it.
Yeah. So I think that's that. Anybody else either elaborating on stuff or asking questions?
We did some stuff. We learned a bit about my bowl.
Yep. You learned that your bowl is made by the Gensarai, who were kind of Force scholars. They were Force users, but they're Force scholars as well. And they are predominantly about refining and perfecting the art of using the Force. But they were, even though that they had some shared origins with the Jedi Order and followed a lot of the Jedi Order's tenets, they also followed some of the Sith. And in the higher canon of Star Wars, any leaning towards the dark side is to be stamped out according to the Jedi Order. So, you know that a mixture of Sith and Jedi disciplines were used to make this. You noticed one of the effects that it had recently when it started to drain some sort of dark force energy from the people who were infected by Emerald Road in the cube. Anyway, you are standing currently in a clearing, having had your file recovery, JT, and you can see the lodge in the distance. What would you like to do?
Now, remind us, we had just gone through the lodge, right? And we were moving on to a camp.
Yeah.
Yes, you were looking for one of the forward camps.
Yes. Yeah.
I think we stopped when you got the memory back of, because X4 helped you get your memory out of lockdown or whatever it was.
Yeah. So I guess
He
JT
helped you work through your trauma in droid terms.
Yeah. I guess JT would immediately ask X for. No, he wouldn't ask X for anything because X4's probably just seen that.
No. He would have restored the file, but not necessarily accessed.
Oh, okay, right. Well, I think JT wouldn't necessarily share exactly what the file was, but he would share priorities to find. We need to find shipping manifests. We need to find xenological surveys. So, what kind of stuff we've got on this planet? Because I couldn't recognize what the thing was that we were fighting. And of course, person records. So those are our 3 priorities.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I guess head onwards to the camp.
Okay.
Yes, there was a guy that was crushed under some rocks. We tried to get to it, but Felicia failed, so we did not get to all of it.
And the way that it's kind of crumbled and tumbled now, any further disturbance of it will just bring it on down.
Yeah.
It did get us a data pad, as I remember it.
Yeah,
Yes,
I got half of this stuff, okay?
Yeah.
I just couldn't get exactly everything.
How dare you?
Yeah, so unless anyone's got any objections, JT's just gonna forge ahead to the forward camp.
I mean, if there's nothing else to find here, then yeah.
So, JT, you remember that the lodge was the main kind of landing zone for a lot of the clients, a lot of the supplies, because the supplies were kept in the lodge. There were other spots of interest, so I'll list them now. So there were various forward camps. Normally they would be where certain beasts were, depending if they wanted big beasts or fast beasts or pack beasts or beasts of the sky. You know that there's a small ocean on this otherwise completely overgrown planet where they could go fishing. And I did describe this planet when we first got here that even the sea plant life was so overgrown that the seas themselves look green. And you do know that there was a certain level of terraforming that went on that seems to have just run a little bit amok. They haven't got the balance right on this planet. It was already green when they first came here, but they wanted it to be a little more dramatic. So they started including certain plant types that just looked a little bit menacing, a little bit dramatic, like spikes and red bits and things like that. You know that there was a clearing as well for importing certain beasts. So larger vessels would have touched down, and they would have brought the beasts out in cages, taking them to holding areas. And so the final area is like little ranches, I guess, where they would check the animals over before letting them out into the wild.
Okay, I guess actually the ranches would be the place to go, given my kind of list of priorities.
Yeah.
So we have a swoop with us. I'm going to bring it, and I'm going to ride alongside the other two.
When we walk.
Yeah, that's fine.
And maybe keep an eye out to see if there's another one we can fix up.
Okay. You know a lot of the swoops here because of the sheer amount of trees here. You know that a lot of the swoops and land speeders are the equivalent of quad bikes. So they've got a huge torque force, but they don't go particularly fast. But they're rugged, and they're
This is our swoop that we got from last mission, isn't it, though?
This particular swoop,
Yeah.
yes. He was talking about other swoops that he could do it.
Yeah.
There are some around. But they would not be as snazzy as the one you have. Yeah.
I'm just thinking.
So you've got was it a Firehawk?
Yes. Sorry, my notes have been terrible the last couple of sessions.
The Firehawk is perfectly fine as long as you don't gun it. Which I think was the problem that you had last time, is that you absolutely caned that thing into the trees, and the inevitable happened. Although you didn't get any damage, if I remember last time.
I managed to soak it all.
Yeah, you soaked the whole damn thing. In that case, did you say that you wanted to go to one of the ranches?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The ranches were only ever a temporary affair. They had normally just a small building that would be a retreat point if the creatures started attacking. They would normally keep them in the cages. They'd give them the shots. They'd acclimatize them to the terrain. Sometimes they would feed them some of the local vegetation if they were omnivorous, just to make sure that they didn't have any kind of allergic reaction. Or anything like that. You don't recall there being a Shane Den on this planet, so it was pretty much the legit side of things. But you remember this was one of the major showcases way back when. It didn't become famous because the location and everything else was kept a secret. Again, because of the type of people who visited here. But people would know it by a nickname, and they would be taking the equivalent of blindfolded. They would put into a luxury yacht that was operated by the company, and they would take people there.
Yeah.
So you head off from your isolation. You remember where most of these things are, so you don't really need to know. You don't really need to find your way. I would say that there are some hazards from going through this quite treacherous landscape, though. And I would like you, JT, first of all, to do me a Diff 3. It's a survival check.
Diff 3 survival. Yes, I've got some skill in survival.
Funny enough, the Savari droid is made for this. So give me a Diff 3 survival, please.
Tabletop audio doesn't have a swoop sound kind of hover bike.
Just a jungle background to be fine.
I'm not finding anything. I currently have us walking through jungle with insects and birds.
I'm sure we can find something. I know tabletop audio quite well. But yes, Diff 3, any blacks or anything?
It is difficult terrain, but that's kind of encompassed with the diff.
Cool.
Give me one black for diff terrain, and then take it away because it's you. So yeah.
Yep. One black, which is taken away because of talents.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's worth noting though, just in case any of the others try it later on. So yes.
Lots of success and lots of threat. That's fun.
Okay.
Monsters.
You currently You're currently overclocking your memory banks to try and remember something from a very long time ago. There's the extra stress of trying to run the numbers on what happened before. So take 2 strain. But you fall into a familiar routine. You point out the bits that Felicia shouldn't chop, largely because of poisonous spores. And
Victoria, presumably.
Who did I say?
Felicia.
Felicia/Victoria. Yeah. There are things where they're saying, no, don't hack up that log. Hack up the vegetation to the left of it. If you hack up that log, you'll be covered in spores and you'll be sick. And so your mind is on the job. But in your processing unit, just behind your neck, you can kind of feel it's a little bit warm.
That stuff is all the hardwired stuff that just comes automatically. The higher functions are on something else.
Yeah, and so you're distracted. You're taking a little bit of strain, and not so much that you think that you'll end up going into a loop or bricking yourself, but you'll be you're just feeling a bit. So you get to the first of the ranches, and the ranch only really has a few things that show for it. There are some cages. They're in a grid pattern, and some of them have got what are now mostly moldy, bowed dividers between them that would have just been something along the lines of just kind of wood panels. And the main reason they're there is that it was to separate the animals that if they looked at each other, they would freak the fuck out. So they had them all kind of isolated there where needed. There's a small hut, space equivalent of a porter cabin, I guess. And there's a large clearing with no trees. There's some saplings now that are trying to take advantage of the area, but a large clearing where you think a light freighter could quite happily land and deliver its cargo. You actually remember freighters landing here. They would obviously toss out the kind of seed population of these hunters, and off they go. So there's some things that may just occur to you and spring out to you, but first I'd like to kind of hand the reins over to yourselves and ask what each of you are going to be looking at here.
I'm gonna beeline for the porter cabin, because if there's anywhere that's gonna have records or manifests, it's probably the porter cabin.
Whoa, okay.
While they're doing that, at first I'm gonna see if there is anything near us, like life-wise. Do I detect any life signs? Mainly using the force as in perception. See if we're being watched by creatures, because I'm not entirely comfortable on this jungle planet. I think
that's fair. Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair. So, give me a perception check with no diff, but okay. I will roll something in the background.
That's almost the most scariest of rolls when we can't see it.
Yeah. I had brought anything up, but I hadn't brought skydiving up for myself. Okay. Okay, my perception.
It's a JT episode, I don't need to roll.
Yeah! No, I'm just doing everything with like tabletop audio, be like, oh yeah, sound effects, yeah! And I'm like, let's see. Yes, that's my perception.
We need to make a checklist for you too for before stream. This is everything you need to have opened by this time.
Uncanny senses. I have 2 of those. Okay, let's roll. It's a total of 3 successes and 4 advantages for whatever you roll, Simon.
Okay. 3, 4. So yeah, you scan around you. You can see that a lot of the bushes are quite light. So you're able to see if there's any silhouettes there. You can also see if anything's moving, and you're pretty much just there, just keeping an eye out. You put yourself in a good vantage point, back against the wall, kind of thing.
Simon, you want to sit up a bit in the middle, because currently you're like in the corner of your camera.
Oh, yeah. I'm leaning to one side. Sorry. Yeah. So you find yourself a decent vantage point, and you are looking at the heat. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
You've got a really good vantage point. Yeah. You're quite happy with the fact that if anything were to try and spring into this, you would be able to draw your weapon, call for the others, all that kind of stuff.
Cool. I'm feeling a bit more calm about that, so I'll have a look around the area if I can find anything of interest, like documents. I'm not expecting like documents unless they're data pads, because they would have rotted by now in that.
To keep your perception, you wouldn't be able to go in at that perception check. You wouldn't be able to go into the cabin, but you can wander around the cave.
Yeah, that's why I'm wandering around the camp. Mm-hmm.
Sure. Okay. Okay, we'll get to you in a bit.
Things might have been thrown out.
Okay. In that case, JT, you go into the cabin. You can see the door is slightly ajar. And you don't recall going into here. Why would you? There'd be no reason to. When you get inside, you can see there's a single blaster rifle left in the rack. All the others are taken. There's a scene in front of you, although it's kind of claimed a little bit by a little bit of overgrowth that's come into the cabin. The general area just has a slight sense, and you get this through your olfactory circuits, of vermin, rat piss, basically. Clearly coming in looking for anything organic, nesting material, things like that. So you have a feeling there's some things that would have been taken. There's the ragged piece remains of what you think may have been like some sort of hunting jacket. There's a pair of goggles, sight enhancement goggles. You pick it up and you realize that to repair this would cost as much as a new pair, so you throw that away. There are some things nearby. So the first is there is a data pad. The data pad is put into a slot in the wall, where it is used like a clipboard, effectively.
Right. Yeah.
People would come in, they'd pick it up. It looks like, due to damp or something else, that the power cells inside have long since died. But that seems to be an easy enough fix. The screen is fine. I mean, that would work out.
I would hand it off to Exwall, of course. He being our resident tech guy, and just ask, "Hey, I haven't done the voice in 2 weeks. Exwall, would you mind having a look, see if you can do to this what it did to me?"
And X4 takes it with some of its little hands, looks at it, and on your internal circuitry, you see the words "allow me to apply my expertise," and then very sarcastically changes the batteries and hands it back.
Right, yeah. That's what we pay you for.
You don't pay me.
X4 is going to shuffle around the porter cabin. There's very little of interest here. There's a large station for feeding both the animal handlers and the animals themselves. You can see that there's a big industrial-sized mincer where they would effectively make the chow of whatever's in here. You can see that there are some throwaway pads. These are pads that are made to be used, read very quickly, and then placed down normally in areas in Coruscant. They just place them in things like cafes and things like that once they're done with them, and they would be picked up, reset, reprogrammed, and reused. Sometimes not even taken apart to recycle them. They just have their very, very small hard drives wiped. You can't go onto any form of net with them.
Yeah.
Think very, very, very early Kimbies. And yeah, you can see that they are long since dead as well.
So this pad that I've got with the new batteries, what's that showing me?
It boots up, and you can see that it has the animal handler's manifests. It has this is all the handover stuff. So as the different animal handlers would come in and out, there is a kind of like a messenger feed, like a forum, I guess. Yeah. Where people would go in and they would give their report. So they would turn around and say, he says, calling up his list of animals. 3 Jackabeasts dead. Suspect local antigen is something that they can't handle with. Strange that the one of them is hale and hearty, maybe breed, maybe immune? ? You've got somebody saying Jubber birds ? Easy kills, and a load of people coming back and saying, we didn't get where we were today by putting fucking Jubber birds into circulation. At which point there's an argument saying that Jubber birds are really violent when provoked, at which point there's a ton of ridicule that you would expect of these kind of grizzled rangers. There is one thread that is interesting, and they are discussing rancors. And large managing of large carnivores in general. But they seem to be rancor enthusiasts and talking about whether or not it would be benefit to the company.
Yes.
Ooh,
blimey!
Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Minion. I better get my one-pack table up.
Keep forgetting Luke. Keep forgetting Luke.
Well, if there's anywhere that's going to be
rancors are really cool animals. It's just too bad that you killed them so early on in Star Wars: The Old Republic, because you'd expect them to be stronger than a level 5 character, but no.
Well, that's MMOs for you.
That is MMOs in a nutshell.
Yes.
Goddamn.
Oh, I hope maybe I'll get a lightsaber on the loot table.
I mean, if there's anywhere that's going to have like weird loot, it's going to be the show-off hunters.
Yeah.
They're going to use all sorts of weird stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I found my 1 page of notes I did take last time. We've got a heartbeat sensor rifle that doesn't work but can be fixed up.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we do.
Right. Let me. I'm actually going to re-roll that because that is shit and certainly not worthy of a. Okay, cool. No, that's
Tables
better.
are
That's
suggestions.
Well, you're DM, and especially because it's 20,000 points, which is a lot. It's like several months worth of streaming, watching. So.
So
Please give us good shit.
I will slip that in when it's appropriate. They're really enthusiastic about it, and I would like you.
Thank you so much, Minion.
JT to we are going to slip that in, and knowing minion, whatever he gives is going to have some sort of profound effect.
Like Parable dying,
Like
and
farewell.
then not, and then not
Minion's
dying.
responsible for our biggest meme so far. I'm going to go with there's no investigation check. So
I died recently.
exactly.
So we kept bullying him.
Please, as if we would stop.
Okay, so it's a diff 2 because they are providing all the information, but it's a little nuanced. This is asking you to read between the lines. Give me either a leadership, perception, or a leadership, perception, or a negotiation roll. Your choice.
Do you want help?
Perception or negotiation. I don't know what this is, but I'm going to pitch Knowledge Underworld. I'm completely guessing if that's relevant.
I'll go knowledge xenology.
That's the one. It's a career skill, but I don't have any points in it. So I think. So is it leadership, negotiation, perception?
Yeah, or as I say, xenology also.
Yeah, I think perception.
Okay. Go for it. Diff 2.
Oh, nothing.
Yeah, these are some cool Rancor enthusiasts.
Yeah. Hey, if you want me to have a look at it.
Well, he doesn't have any motivation to. He read through it, and it's just a big enthusiasm thing. And bear in mind, JT can speed read because of droid. So most of this is happening in the femtosecond range.
Yeah. What I will do is I'm going to look for the most recent messages, and try and figure out if that time matches up with my internal clock for when it all went wrong.
It's a few days before when you find something that is relevant. It is a rant by one of the controllers saying, one of the animal handlers saying, "This new shipment coming in. Assign me to something else. Assign me to the bloody sick Jacobis if you want. I don't care. I'm not dealing with them. I'm just not dealing with them. I didn't pay up for this, and I think it's bloody stupid to have."
Any indication of what them is?
No. The reply back is, look, we look after whatever animals they send. I don't know why they're sending these for the jerks to kill. These things are as wily as they come. Even we'll have trouble keeping everybody safe, and that's actually from the master safari guide. That's not from an animal handler. That's from one of the head honchos in this operation on this planet, at least, saying, "Look, we'll just have to make sure that they stay safe. We'll keep extra precautions going on." The guy comes back and says, "They use the bloody Force. What are we supposed to do with that? What if all of a sudden it does some sort of mind trick and tells me to put my head between the bars? No, I'm not going anywhere near them." One of the insults tells you that the person making the complaints is a Gran, and the guy comes back and says they don't use the Force, but they can detect it. I guess that they just get a feeling in the water. Don't worry. They hunt, but they're fine. I don't know why they're here either. Let's just do the best we can. I mean, they look impressive at least. We'll see if we can get hold of some of the anti-venom as well. That should be useful. And at which point somebody comes in and corrects them with a very kind of, "Excuse me, I think you're fine," kind of demeanor.
Actually.
Actually, saying there is no anti-venom for there. There's a preventative that stops the paralytic effect of their poison. At which point everybody tells them to shut up.
Okay. Yeah. I think that was something I probably already knew. But are there any like messages after that? Like, does messaging stop at that point, or is it just kind of general chat after that?
There's a couple of things. Give me a computer's roll, but take a free upgrade on it.
Ooh, lovely.
Diff 2.
All the good rolls for JT.
Oh,
Oh,
JT,
dear.
Yeah. Oh, you're making JT do all the rolls.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that seems to be everything.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, you've checked the entire forum.
Okay, I'm gonna basically hand off the data pad to X4. Couldn't find anything particularly useful on that. Nothing I didn't already know. But like the forum posts still. Do the messages stop after that exchange, or is there like several days of chat before it stops?
There's meaningless chat talking about pod racing and things like that.
Right.
You don't manage to divine anything beyond that.
Okay. Is there chat after the day do I even know like the date where it all went wrong?
You can extrapolate it based on your recollections and the things that the animal handlers are mentioning. The day that it happened, there's nothing, and you can see it regular as clockwork because they have all the feeding schedules in there. They've got the weighing of some of the creatures to make sure that they're getting to the right size. You've got people confirming that they've given like vaccinations and other shots and things like that to the animals, and then it just stops. So you're kind of like, yep, and that's where it all went wrong.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm just gonna hand it off to X4, and I couldn't find anything useful on that. See if you can get anything more out of that. I'm going to see if there's anything by the landing area.
And X4 is going to have a pop.
Yes.
Yes, is the answer to that. You kind of give it to him. He plugs it into one of the little drawers in his chest. And as you walk away, X4 says, did you check the junk files?
Do they not get deleted after a while?
No, not really. Not until somebody clears them. This is the supervisor's account. If you went into the supervisor settings, there would be all the deleted comments.
What do they say?
So there is a huge complaint that then got deleted because they didn't want the bosses to see it. But it was never cleared out of the kind of recycle bin, effectively. And it's saying how the people who have brought those fucking Vonskias aren't the usual guys. They're bullies, and they're pretty sure that they are Empire. What the fuck are Empire doing here? The reply is, what? Were there stormtroopers? And they're like, no, there's no stormtroopers or anything like that. But I don't know, they were just stiff like those Compton a lot.
Well, now that is something.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying?
No, just making sure that you caught the name Vonskia.
I did indeed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm going to head out. I'm going to send a message out to everyone. Just head on a swivel. I think there might still be some Vonskia on the planet. And then just basically a Wikipedia page, almost.
It's like, what a Vonskia!
Yep. They're force sensitive. They're sensitive to the force. There's a difference. I'm not sure.
Ooh, instantly interested.
So, yeah, keep it quiet, Nima. They're pretty vicious. So if you see one, don't shout, but let us all know at least.
Yeah.
You know that the Vornskir were not taken to this ranch. This ranch had a lot of the stock in trade. You had some. What's the cat? I always forget the fucking cat's names.
The bosun's.
No, it's not a rancor. No.
Yeah, the one that Padme was fighting off on the pillar.
Nexu.
Nexu,
Yeah.
thank you, the Nexu. So yeah, there's Nexu and things like that. And you can see that there's some matted fur in one of the things. The Nexu are pretty good hunters themselves. So that wouldn't have been for someone who was 100% jerk. Because that would be a little too much to keep them safe with that, because that would have been quite nasty.
Is Alexa speaking to us?
Yeah, apparently my laptop is connected to Alexa, even though the Zoom is coming through my headphones. So everything but Zoom is just coming through the speakers.
Right.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yes, weird.
There's some cages that have, and this is Nemo looking along. You can see a thing that says Minoc hybrids. Minocs are able to survive in space, but clearly they've found a way of breeding some sort of terrestrial form with their tentacles and teeth and other little appendages and stuff like that. They look really, really scary, but all they are is
disgusting.
Yeah, they're disgusting. They're fast, they're scary, and what you can tell is, this JT would be able to tell you is that these hybrids are nowhere near as dangerous as the originals. They're mostly flying targets. They're like clay pigeons, but alive.
Okay.
And they look dangerous. They look nasty. They look like nothing that you'll let.
They look pretty cute. I'm looking at images. They're not that bad.
The hybrids aren't. These ones are pretty disgusting creatures. And so yeah, the Minocs that they bred were meant to look badass, but were inbred as fuck. So they basically just flew around having a little bit of a tantrum in the air until the jerk shot them. And if you get into a conversation with JT about that, JT will do the droid equivalent of roll his eyes, I'm sure, because they were considered to be the jerkiest of all hunting things. But they bred them so that there was something left that was trophyable. A skull that you could quite happily just kind of polish off and they could have on their wall that had like little jagged bits and teeth and things like that. But they were very low threat. Yeah. But yes, you know the Vonskiers were taken to another one of the ranches.
You know... Sorry, my brain is going very slowly today. In
It's
the
fine. Same.
That makes all of us.
We're all just
I think
gonna
I stopped thinking like an hour ago, and it's not going well.
Yeah, and I'm resting my hand right where my laptop is pumping out all of the heat.
Yeah,
I keep doing that.
Yeah, when I got into my we were playing Don't Starve Together earlier, earlier in the week, and I went into my WASD claw and realized that this part of my hand was overheating. But when I pulled my hand away, I was like, "Oh, I've cooked the heel of my hand." So yeah, gotta be careful.
Yeah. JT will basically come over to Nima and Victoria and just Did you find anything useful or just corpses?
I found a cage that used to be used for some flying targets, I think.
Right, yeah. Idiots.
Nothing too interesting, unfortunately.
Did you
I've
find
mostly
anything?
been keeping an eye out for anything that's might come our way.
Yeah. I did send you the image of the fallen scale, didn't I?
Yes, that's
Yes,
very
good.
Saw
interesting.
that one.
I've got it up on the NDI, Corinne, if you, if you get rid of it.
we're
Would
kind of-
mind removing Nima for a moment.
Yeah.
I know you like to show her off.
Yes. Well, I like showing off your art, Felicia.
Yes.
They
And for our chat, and because of that lovely introduction, I'm still taking commissions. Get one while you can, because uni is starting in a few weeks.
Anyway, what you gonna say, Ed? Something about the ones, the force dogs.
yes. They weren't delivered here. And I
Right.
think they were delivered by Empire types.
Why would the Empire deliver force dogs here?
Well, prior to my last engagement with this planet, my last significant engagement with the Lone Star Safari Adventures Company, my clients pulled out some kind of device and overrode whatever restraining bolt I had on me
So,
and said, "They're here to kill me." I don't know if I'm connecting dots that don't connect, but hearing an Empire ship, well, a suspected Empire ship was here, delivering not a particularly hunter-friendly kind of animal.
yes.
Yeah, it seems
And
suspicious.
when we found JT Simon, did he have a restraining bolt on him?
No, it was a different device.
Yeah.
It was a MacGuffin, and
I-
it worn off. It was worn off by the time we found JT. In fact, it effectively put JT into a red mist, and then when he had lost all targets, he was able to come out of battle mode effectively, and then was himself and just came to, and there was a load of corpses around. Most of which I should imagine JT would have buried or something, because he wouldn't have wanted his former workmates ate up by beasts.
I think JT would have done the whole rigmarole of skinning and quartering and getting ready for trophies, and maybe even brought them back to the lodge. At which point, realizing that everyone had gone.
Okay.
There was no restraining bolt on JT. He did have programming that eroded over time that made him loyal to the company back then.
Yeah. You had this weird device on you when we found you.
No, he didn't.
No,
No.
I thought you said he did.
No,
No,
it was used on him, but the red mist, the kind of rage had subsided. When you met him, he was hale and hearty. He was fine.
No, so,
It's just-
so it didn't have a bolt anyway.
No bolt.
No, okay.
Just the equivalent of an injection of red mist or something.
Okay.
Um,
By the way, it makes sense to you, JT, why you would not have seen the Vornskir if they were on the planet with you, even in the time that you were here. They pretty much ignore droids. You have neither meat nor force signature. They would have seen you as a rock, and would not have bothered walking up to you.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, I'm prime target for them. Yay!
Indeed. Which is why I told you immediately to be very careful from these.
Yeah, well, Victoria knows that being vigilant is not Nima's thing, so she's doing enough for both of them.
Well, I am being vigilant right now, and checking out for animals.
Your head was turned the other way immediately when you heard the word force.
So JT will suggest to the group we should probably head over to that other landing point soonish. Well, I guess time doesn't really matter at this point, but you will probably need to bed down and sleep at some point. I prefer to do that in the ship rather than in any of these lodges.
Oh yeah, rather than...
Most definitely.
Yeah, the ship is...
JT, can you do me a destiny roll, please?
Ooh.
Dun 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 dun.
Ooh!
Hurrah!
You give the place a last once over, and behind the porter cabin is a very slow speeder. It's a small, kind of like a quad bike. Actually, it's like a Unimog, if you know what one of those are. You will have seen them in. Don't know if you just Google Unimog, does it?
Yes, I have.
Does it come up with it? Yeah. It's a little kind of forestry thing. It's not particularly fast. It's normally energy efficient. Has a high torque. Can pull trailers and logs and things like that behind it. You got the double light side. So not only did you find it, you walk straight up, you press the ignition, and it goes.
I mean, beats walking.
Two-seater.
Oh.
It does.
Two-seater and a bed we can lift X4 into.
Nice. Well, let's take it. We got 3 things, so it's going to be easier to get to the ship now.
Indeedy.
Your speeder, your swoop, JT, makes this thing makes it look like it's going backwards, or that it's in slow motion. But you don't want to be wrapping this particular swoop around any trees, so just kind of pootling ahead.
Yeah. So while I am doing like going up ahead and then coming behind and then up ahead, so kind of keeping a perimeter,
sure,
just to keep an eye out.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So the speeder is going ahead. It's not particularly noisy either, because this is meant to be around animals and things like that. There's a little kind of warming sound that comes from it, but it's not got the screaming of some land speeders, the whole kind of thing. It just kind of bobs along with a little bit of wobbing. This thing, you could pack the flatbed behind it full of rocks, or logs or whatever, and it would just happily wobble along at the same almost insulting speed it's currently going. It barely goes speed 2. And
there was one thing I forgot. Wanted to check the clearing to see if there was any kind of like record of like ship, like what's the word?
Manifesto?
Manifests, but like what you would record of a manifest on, like the identification for the ship, the transmitter code,
transponder. Yeah,
transponder. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna give. What was his role? There were some advantages on X4's role. Yeah, you've got it. The name of the ship was called the Starburst.
Starburst.
Yep. A completely unoriginal name, but what you expect and use to generate.
It's a good name.
Yeah. So it was the Starburst that brought it here. A light freighter, and you don't get anything else from the transponder code using a quick ship-to-shore transport with your fire spray.
When
you
we
may
get
more
if
you run it through. If you run it through either Clarity or or the or through your contacts, you'll probably get a lot more.
Yeah, I think Osnar promised to have a look for me if I got some details from the planet for him.
Okay.
So yeah, onwards to the next area to where this ship landed. See if we can find any more details about it.
Sure. First of all, I would like a survival check diff 3 from JT, a perception check diff 3 from Nima. Tell me if you're going to use any of your force abilities, please. And a discipline check diff 2 from I was supposed to say Gloria, from Victoria.
Kai, diff 2.
I mixed up
fails
Glory
and threats.
It's so it's one of my talents that's uncanny senses, which just gives me blues. Is that considered to be part of my force powers, or is that just?
Yeah. If it's anything that uses any of your force sensitive talents.
Anything from the force sensitive tree equals force.
Yeah, that's how it works.
I've been told I shouldn't, because there's a bunch of things that detect me when I'm using the force.
But it is also the one thing you're good at.
It's like, I want to shine, let me shine.
I mean, JT literally cannot tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be good. I got 2 advantages.
I succeeded.
Yeah, Victoria's good at this.
I'm
At least one of us
good at
did, yeah.
discipline. I'm very disciplined. I know when I'm supposed to hit things and when I'm not supposed to hit things. That's discipline, right?
Mm-hmm. JT, I'm not going to do anything with the threats. I'm kind of banking them at the moment.
Oh no.
Nima, for your advantages, do me just a quick destiny dice quickly.
1 or 2?
Just one. It's a destiny dice, not force.
Right side.
Okay. Yeah, you spot some of the spores that JT pointed out before. You can see that in a hollow of a log, these spores seem to have collected almost like a couple of cups full. Maybe they might be useful for something.
Some spores here? Like collected?
JT, when you are pointed in that direction by Nima, you can see that there is indeed a quite a large collection of them.
Hello, Aura.
These spores, if retrofitted into a grenade, will cause a heavy nausea in organics. It's a craftable resource. If you would like to take it, JT can go up and carefully, although not doesn't need to be too careful because they're completely useless against you. JT can collect or attempt to collect 3 portions of sickness spores.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go for it.
And JT's got a backpack, which is, I think we decided it was airtight at one point.
I'm going to say you probably have like a few pots and baggies and things like that for stuff.
You never know when you find something interesting.
So for this, you can choose a diff between 1 and 3, JT, and give me a survival check with that diff.
We're just going to go for a nice little diff 2. And I'm very glad I did, because I got 1 success.
Yeah, you know that kind of breaking the spores and scraping the bottom is going to take too much. You've got 2 grenades worth.
Nice.
Just needs to be put in a slight conflagration in the middle to be able to kick them out in every direction, but nothing that's too thermal, otherwise it will roast away the spores, getting rid of the effect. The spores stay dormant for a very long time. You can probably just use them without a grenade if you wanted to. If you didn't want to worry about the burst effect, you could just kind of pour out a portion into your hands and smash it into someone's face.
That's a backup if I find myself in melee.
Yeah. At which point, an organic will have to make a diff 3 if you want to note it down. A diff 3 resilience check, and
that's not too bad.
Not for you. You're built like a brick shithouse and have a stomach that can take ridiculous amounts of alcohol. For the average person, they don't invest in the average player doesn't invest in resilience.
Yeah, I've only got 1-on-1.
Yeah, but you have automatic immunity to it all.
Yeah.
But so it's a diff 3 resilience check, and if they fail, they have to keep rolling for They have to keep rolling for 5 turns to regain their actions. Otherwise, they will just spend their time vomiting. They can run, they can flee, but they can't fight or fire guns or anything like that.
So basically, they've only got maneuvers.
They've got maneuvers only, yeah. As their action every turn until they pass that test, and they can pass it reflexively. So at the beginning of each turn, they get to make the test. If they fail the test for 5 turns, they are doubled over retching. If you've ever had that sickness that's so violent that you're effectively doing crunches, and your stomach feels like it's burning and collapsing in on itself.
Like what happened to Nima and Chevron a little while ago.
Yes, we had that with the nanites.
Yep. The nanites, gripping you from inside.
I don't see the issue. You just needed to drink more, and they would have been a problem.
Yeah,
the nanites had a higher diff, but to resist them because I think was it down to the sheer amount of drinking and all the rest of it, the excessive drinking. Victoria had a better time. Right. I do like those situations where it's like, are you going to drink excessively? All the kind of players who are trying to guess my intentions are like, no, I would never do that. And it's like, oh, pity you didn't drink excessively at the end of it. I like those little, whipping the tails. So that's that. And then finally, out of the rolls, we've got Victoria. So Victoria has the entire time been set onto defensive murder mode, and you've
defensive
kind of been scanning.
Does sound good.
Yeah, you're trying to defend the others, but what you're really gearing up for is hacking something into little itty bitty pieces. I don't think you were part of the conversation regarding the rancor. But you've been kind of scanning for anything that is different.
Well, I listened to it and I looked over it, and considering my Viking background, I would assume that I know of many big beasts that are very nice to show off the fact that you have killed to the rest of the family,
Yeah. You carry on scanning the horizon, and with that roll, you suddenly get a break in the pattern. Tree, silhouette, and that's enough to trigger your warrior's cunning. And the JT and Nima, and this is a few minutes after collecting the spores, suddenly whip around to see that you are sword drawn and in a battle stance as you're glaring through the trees. There's something in the distance.
We got company.
It's big.
Ooh.
Are tracker goggles giving me an outline or anything?
Huge footsteps.
Yes. Now that you have Victoria to point you in the correct direction, you put the tracking goggles in place, and suddenly your tracking goggles kind of tag metal alloys and start to do the outline of a tail fin of a ship.
A ship?
Oh,
JT
okay.
will say out loud.
A ship. Oh, it's a ship, not footsteps. Okay. Ignore that.
A large silhouette in the distance between the trees.
Okay, so I chat ignore the huge steps that I put in because I thought it was a creature.
Making those assumptions.
She's so prepared and trying so hard.
I've got to guess what
keeping
Simon's
vague.
doing. He doesn't give me any clue as to what he's about to talk about. Sometimes I tell. Not all, but sometimes.
Victoria, do you want to take point or should I?
I can do that.
Okay.
Going to...
As you get closer, you can see that the angle of the tail fin means that this ship crash landed. JT will already know that there is no landing site anywhere near this. This thing came in hot. It doesn't look like it's exploded, but as you get closer, you do see the telltale marks of iron and blaster marks along its hull. The ship itself, says Simon ad-libbing because this is me. Okay, so the ship itself is a ILH KK Citadel class light freighter. Let me just pull that up for you. ILH KK. And the fins, as I say, there's one of the fins is broken, and you can see the other one. So you're kind of confused before you get into it. Just put it into things so that everybody can see it. There we go. It would have looked like that. Only one of the fins now is unbroken. You can see that the front part of the fuselage has been smashed into itself. Cockpit is non-existent, buried into the ground, and you can see heavily corroded over time. It must have been some sort of fluke, JT, that you just hadn't walked this way. In all fairness, it's not really on any of the major routes between the parts that you would have interest of. And let's face it, you wouldn't have gone out hunting for sustenance or anything like that. You pretty much would have been stood around. But yeah, and also you wouldn't be able to see the fin proud of the canopy of the trees. It was only Victoria who was looking out for danger that saw something in between the trees. It does look like the middle of the ship is still intact, and so there may be some form of salvage within.
I think Victoria's taking point on this.
Mm-hmm. Well, whatever got it good.
Yeah.
Might be able to get some of it. Or something inside.
As you get closer, Victoria, can I please have a gunnery check from you? And one of the things I love about this is that a gunnery check is also for assessing gunnery. The diff it's right there in front of you, so the diff is only 1.
Well, that is good, because my gunnery is only 1. So, agility, so I have 1 of those and 1 of those. Roll. That's a success. Yeah, you're pretty sure that they hit one of the engines whilst they were going at full speed, and when the engine exploded, it may have stopped their ability to shut off the other engine, which would have put them into some form of tailspin. They would have hit the environment, or would have hit the atmosphere, burnt up a bit, which is why you can see some kind of charring along the side. You can see that some of the other systems were probably fried as well due to ion blasts. They came in fast, hot. It looks like some control must have been gained right at the end, but it was too little too late. The ship is near totaled, but there's a couple of sections near the back, considering this is a type of freighter. That's probably for the best. Most of the holds are in the back. So yeah, you might be able to rifle through some of the cargo they were carrying. Yeah. Let's take a look, shall we?
The first challenge that you can see, Victoria, is that the ship itself seems to have landed on what would have been its loading ramp. So you're going to have to find a way of getting inside. Unfortunately, it hasn't split in such a way that it's opened it to the elements. That's both a good and a bad thing. It means it's going to be a little bit harder for you to get in, but it also means that whatever's inside, unless water somehow managed to get in, should be intact.
You said it was missing its cockpit.
Yeah, the cockpit and the whole front of the ship seems to have either buried itself into the ground or concertinaed so it flattened itself like a pug nose.
How about around the normal entry? Well, not entryway, since you said the landing shuttle was broken.
Yeah, its belly is. It kind of landed on its belly where the landing ramp would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Around the hull, any type of weaknesses, hatches, or something you could potentially hack into.
You're pretty sure. Give me a mechanics check again. Diff 1. This is
Does
a
this
fairly
kind of
standard
ship have escape pods?
Yeah.
No, it's too small for escape pods.
Worth a try.
Yeah, nah.
Okay. Yeah, everything looks roughly the same for you. So it looks like you might have to either end up blasting your way in or hacking your way in. Yeah.
Well, by hacking, I actually meant like, is there any? Can I see any weak points where I can put a sword and basically saw my way in?
Pretty much the entire fuselage, because it's one of those things of doing it for enough time, you will eventually get through. That roll was to see if you could find something that you could neatly open up an area.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
You look around at one point as you're staring at this thing, and JT's just there holding a thermal detonator.
At which point you hear...
I don't want to break whatever's inside, but I like the enthusiasm. What do you say, X4?
X4 gives a series of cheeps and whistles, and on all of your various visors and internal circuits, you hear a, my God, how have we survived so far? And you watch as the plucky little astromech jumps down from the flatbed, shuffles its way up to the ship, extends out its two larger legs to the fuselage, and there's a clunk as its magnetic feet attach itself to the hull. It rolls up the sides of the hull, up to the top of the ship, and then suddenly goes whoop out of sight.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
A few minutes pass, and suddenly whoop out of the astromech port on the top, which we were rolling to find. X4 rolls around, comes back down, and kind of points at a part of the ship and says, if you strike here a few times, you should be fine. It's nice and thin.
Yeah, let's do that.
Give me a couple of attack rolls just for fun.
Yay! Now
We are
I know how
intellect
to
1
do.
and intellect 2 respectively.
Yes.
It's not our
We
fault.
are not intelligent, okay? I know how to stab things.
Yeah.
There'll be 2 blank on top of your regular 2 diff 2 for melee attacks.
Yeah. Just gonna double check a thing. Yeah. Oh wait. Plus 1 at this roll. That's the first one.
Sure. How much damage would that normally be?
Normally that would be, let's see here. That would be 8, 9, 10, pierce 3 plus 2 crits.
Okay. The crits you don't really need in this case, not because you're attacking a big wall of metal.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really have an anatomy to roll off against. Give me
Yeah.
another roll.
Okay. Same?
Yep.
Hey, okay.
So that's not a success, but it is a triumph. Basically, you manage to wedge your sword in, switch on the vibro function, and start going through it like a cheese wire. It gets to the point where you can just pull the sword out, and then with brute force, just stop folding part of the fuselage back like it's a sardine tin.
Yeah.
There's darkness inside, and X4 very helpfully switches on a tiny little torch that comes out of its just underneath its ocular sensor.
Well, good thing that all of us have some form of optic suite that enhances our vision.
Yep, you guys have used your thing well. Okay, so would you like to go inside?
Yes. I'm curious what we will find in here.
And Felicia is attacked immediately by a monster.
I'm following closely, but not too closely, with my shotgun out.
Yeah.
Sure.
I got my
Vigilant all the
pistol.
time, because we never know when we can find something nice, something fun, you know?
Are we gonna find out what's inside this after the break, Simon?
I was about to lead up to that.
Yeah.
So as you step inside the ship, you can see that the long rotted corpses of a Gran, a Dug, a Draw, a Trandoshan, a Biff, a Toydarian, and a Nemoidian are thrown in one corner of the room, almost like it was done deliberately just to tidy them out of the way. It doesn't take a medicine check to see what killed them. Many of them either have cracked vertebrae where they broke their neck or their back. A number of them have got multiple fractures throughout their body, where even where they lay, the skeletons are laying down in such a way that they are in a natural position just to have rotted and left the skeleton. And there is a biofilm, a very foul black and brown biofilm on the floor underneath them. A few of them, especially the Trandoshan and the Biff, died of massive head trauma as they basically flew into the wall and head-butted the wall. It looks like they were trying to hold on to something when the ship hit, but regardless of what they tried to hold on onto, and you can see by a break in the bones in the forearm, that whatever they were holding on to, it basically just broke their arm. They let go anyway. The impact of the ship was just so profound that they all flew through the air and had a very sudden, but I should imagine for some painful death. So you can see a bunch of dead people. This was not a cargo hold as such. It seemed to have been retrofitted into some sort of clubhouse. By the looks of the trophies that line the walls, these are genuine safari hunters who presumably were coming to the planet, and despite the fact that you got most of your money through jerks, there were legitimate safari hunters that would come to the planet JT. This looks like it. A collection of hunters who are maybe coming to the planet and then fell foul of whatever deeds were happening when you got attacked. We'll look more into the ship after the break.
We'll see you guys in about 10 or so minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah, okay. See you soon.
And welcome back, everybody. Sorry, we took a little bit of extra time because it's fucking hot. Right.
None of us can really think right now, so excuse us for not being the best role players. Please.
So
we're dying.
You guys are in the cargo hold of the ship, and it turns out this ship seems to be the, I guess, a space Winnebago, the space camper van of a bunch of seasoned hunters, looking at the trophies. Some of them sporting blaster marks right in the center of the head. These were the real deal. Compared to the jerks that you'd normally have JT going around with. A lot of the materials has got smashed into the front of the ship along with the unfortunate hunters inside. You're pretty sure the pilot and any crew that this had came off even worse or potentially better. At least their deaths were probably quicker. And you can see, though, that this clubhouse that is effectively the back and the cargo hold of this vessel has weapons cabinets, lockers, chests of all different kinds. Even the corpses themselves, although heavily rotted, seem to have a few items in amongst them. So yeah, you may want to have a bit of a look around.
Sure.
Indeed we do.
Yeah.
So you mentioned...
Is that the loot bomb, Simon? Is that the loot
This
bomb?
is the loot.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, I got there. I just sorry, zoned out thinking about flies in.
Yep.
I've got a fly infestation at the moment, and it is driving me insane.
We would go and help you and kill the flies, but at the moment we can't visit each other.
Yeah. I am
not
working
allowed.
on it slowly, but they're taking their sweet time. Anyway, yes, let's. So the bodies you said were all down to bones, and there was some unsmashed crates.
Yes, a lot of the crates and lockers and things like that were hard mounted into the ship seem to have recovered just fine. There are some smashed crates at the front. Most of them are crates that had things like bottles of whiskey and things like that. You have a feeling if Chevron was with you right now, he'd be saying a small prayer to their demise. Not the rum. Why is the rum gone? But there seems to be a lot here that you could pick up. The clubhouse seems to be 2 floors, a mezzanine floor, which normally would have more cargo in it. But you can see that there is a select table and a bunch of other things there. You feel that they may have had like their games and things up there. And then there seem to be smaller sections that were cut off into what seem to be little nooks or bedrooms for the hunters. And then a central area as well, which seemed to be like a preparation area. And that's where you're standing at the moment. A general purpose area that would have been used for the preparations for their hunts. It's also where most of the trophies are. There are tables and things that have crashed over to where all the bodies are, and you have a feeling they would have probably had a bunch of things just there. In the middle of this space.
I guess. I know I'm leaning on X4 a lot, but if there is a manifest X4, that would be very useful.
Goes up, plugs in the tourney thing into the tourney port, and comes back and says, "No manifest. Wherever the server would be, probably closer towards the front of the ship. It's gone."
I guess let's start opening gun lockers if we can find them. That's what JT would be line for.
Pretty much.
Cool.
So you can see that there are variations on a theme of blaster carbine, which seems to be they're well balanced, well maintained, all the rest of it, but nothing that kind of outclasses you guys. You have a feeling that maybe this was you come from a hunter background yourself. You have a feeling that this was the weapon of choice amongst equals. That they had to there were times when they could use signature weapons, but when they were hunting in general, they had to use a bog standard, if well maintained and balanced and calibrated blaster carbine to take down their prey. A couple of little fixtures on there. They actually work at long range rather than medium, so they've had some form of modification already. And they're a marksman's weapon. They are a Top Gun of rifles, basically, and you're having to take them out with a simple blaster shot rather than anything else. However, you do find a signature weapon amongst the lockers. I would like you to, and if you could read it out, because I don't have the roller in front of me at the moment. I'm looking at the tables. Can you first of all roll me a 2d6, and I don't want the total. I want what's on each.
That is a 1 and a 1.
A 1 and a 1. Okay, and roll again, please. Again, 2d6, and I want the two numbers.
That is a 4 and a 2.
Okay. You open one locker, and the locker is larger than some of the others. It's actually like more of a kind of a gun safe. Big kind of affair. You open it up, and you're not sure whether you'd be able to carry this. It's huge, gigantic gun. It has a fold-out tripod. It's a seriously heavy weapon, to the point where it takes an action to set it up. Yeah, so it takes a whole round to set this thing up. Once you set it up, it's stuck in place until you use an action to pack it down again, because it's just unwieldy. You wouldn't be able to. I guess you'd be able to pick it up, but you wouldn't be able to go through doors or anything like that with it in its unfolded state. A cursory glance over it all. Not that we'd put it in the terms in character, but I'll give it to you out of character. It requires the gunnery skill to operate because it is a heavy mounted weapon. Yeah, it's basically a turret, but it's a turret that has to be operated rather than an auto turret. And by the looks of it, it fires incredibly strong stun pulses. This is a device used for stunning large creatures if the mission is to stun rather than to kill.
Now that is fun.
You're pretty sure with the right decoys and opportunity that you could stun a rancor with this shit.
You are speaking JT's language, Simon.
Except that gunnery isn't a career skill for me.
No.
In fact, based on the strength and based on the strength required for it and based on the skill used for it, it's more kind of equal parts JT Victoria, funny enough. Both of you have a modicum of gunnery skill, and depending on what you're willing to shed, either of you two can carry it. It also does seem like a thing that you won't carry around with you at all times. No,
that seems like we've got a specific moment to use this.
It's mission specific.
Yeah.
This and remember, this came from the loot bomb, so literally you just rolled up 1 and 1 is stun, and then 4 and 2 is cannon. I was like, stun cannon. Okay, in that case, you have got a heavy stun turret.
Oh, I love it.
Wow.
I love it.
That's pretty cool.
We can put it on but can you stun someone with like...
Apparently.
Yeah, it's this huge neuralizer cannon, basically. You
shoot people, they fall over, and they can't move.
Yeah, it's... you have a feeting that hitting Silhouette 1 creatures with it may not be that easy. I'll write up the stats on this.
Yeah.
It's meant for Silhouette 2 creatures.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Okay, so I will mark that for later on our HUDs and point it out to Victoria. We can fit that in the back with X4, can't we?
Yeah, I'm sure we can.
Yeah, you've got the Unimog with the flat pan on the back. You can absolutely throw this on the flat pan.
Jason's just like, I want it.
Yeah,
Can
that
we
flat
keep
pan is
it,
made
please?
for lumber and it's empty at the moment, so you're fine.
I've just got an image of like a flatbed truck with a huge Gatling gun on the back, but with X4 manning it.
Well, strictly speaking, you could set up the heavy stun turret on the back of the Unimog, which means that it would be a mobile turret.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because the flat pan would do it. However, the Unimog in battle is very, very shit. It's very slow and doesn't have any armor. Even with the fact that the one thing that I screwed up before was the rule of 10 because it's a vehicle. 10 points of personal damage are required to take out 1 point of vehicle. Which again,
To
for
be fair.
Victoria is laughable because she's like, yeah, fine. But, it's something worth knowing.
That's a hit, Yeah.
And also crits still work as crits. So the speeder bike
All
going
I
up to
need
Luke.
is a 10 damage and 1 crit.
10 damage and a crit or a crit with or a number of crits so that you get a better crit would mean that you'll probably do something profound to that vehicle in a single shot. It's the Luke cutting off the front of the speeder bike in
Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi. Where he takes the front off. This system allows that. Again, I love the Genesis system. It allows for that. You can have Victoria just turn around and lock off a part of the speeder. She does 1 point of damage, which won't necessarily kill it, but she ends up, getting rid of the steering column. Or
Like when the
fucking up
others
engine.
were almost kidnapped and I decided to smash someone's windscreen in on their ship.
Yeah, that was a cool shot because you were on the windscreen. It was like, well, it's the only thing you can fucking hit. You've got the crit, and I was like, well, the windscreen's fine. If he wants, he can go into space right now, but I wouldn't recommend it. Yeah. So yeah, and narratively,
Sorry, there's a
works,
fly
so.
directly behind the camera that I need to get out.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Been staring at it for like 10 minutes.
Sitting there, hello, hello, hello.
So, that's your one. I would like the same from Felicia, please, because we're going to go around the table. So can you 2d6? Give me the 2 numbers.
6, that's 4 and 1.
4 and 1, cool. And then do it again.
Oh no, I rolled a d100. Fuck. I said roll the same dice. Why don't you do that? Oh well.
Guess
6
what,
and 2. Roll 3 and 6.
3 and 6. Okay. You open up a cabinet that looks like it should be a sword at the sword case, and that's why it catches your eye. And you're not disappointed when you open it up. What's inside seems to be a sword that is made out of carbonite.
Okay. Wait, I need a new page.
It's a one-handed sword, and it is a sword that is made out of carbonite.
Carbonite sword.
Interesting.
One-handed.
It seems to have a socket in the bottom where power cell needs to be added in, and what seems to be a trigger that can be triggered by the thumb.
Needs power cell. Okay. as trigger?
It looks like an incredibly conceptual weapon.
Okay. I'm keeping this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
But what about your
It's pretty.
sword?
It's a pretty saber. Yeah.
It's a pretty sword, and it will do very well on our bedroom wall.
Okay.
Corinne, can I have 2d6 and then 2d6?
All right.
So 4 numbers total in two groups.
Special rolls.
Besides, you never know when you need a one-handed.
How do you guys roll d6s?
In tight spaces, a one-handed sword is better.
The D100 is, you can replace the 100 with a 6.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Thank you.
And then change the number to 2.
No worries. This dice roll was definitely not made for proper dice.
Yeah.
A 4. 5.
4 and 5. Sure. Okay.
And again, or is it?
And again, yeah. So you've got a 4 and a 5, and what's the second one?
4.
Mm-hmm.
And 4.
4.
4 and 4. You open up a crate, and it looks like a locker where you'd find clothes, and inside is a missile.
Lightsaber, 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 lightsaber.
It's a missile with a rig, and it seems to have a controller in there as well. By the looks of it, it is a single missile launcher, and it's one of those things where you would set it on the floor, you would set it going, and it would kind of it would unpack so that it could launch the missile. And then after that, it's what's known as a fly-by-wire missile. So you would target it using the handset, target using the handset, and then fire the missile, and then the missile would go wherever the handset was pointed. So it's semi-guided.
Semi-guided
JT,
missile.
I think this is something you like, because I have no idea how to operate this.
Semi-guided missiles. Interesting.
They are good compared to heat seekers because you can fool those fly-by-wires. Basically, as long as you've got somebody who is not being disturbed, you can tell that missile to do whatever the fuck you want. And as long as it's got fuel, it will just keep persisting until it hits its target. JT, being that you have a background that will allow for this, give me a quick mechanics check to 2.
Why am I looking at my sheet? I know exactly what this is. It's a success.
Yeah, you know that this is a droid killer. This, when it explodes, has a small explosive effect, but mostly it has an ion effect. This is an EMP missile, and will fuck up any technology in the range of effect, and will screw over most droids.
Nice.
That might come in useful, but also
this is about 6 figures worth of missile. You have no idea why it's there, because they seem to be intent on taking out organic prey. Maybe it's not so much for hunting down droids as taking out a facility. Who knows? But yeah, you hit a facility correctly with this. Say goodbye to all automated systems, any form of circuitry. It would just fuck shit up. You'd have to hit it well, but if you hit it dead on the nose, you could take out servers, you could take out cameras, you could take out everything. Without necessarily killing many people or any people if you do it correctly.
To me, this sounds like if a group of PCs crashed their ship, this is what it would be like. It would be like a load of random, really powerful stuff, and it's a casino.
That they never got round to doing, yeah.
Yeah. And all the spare carbines that they found along the way.
Can I have a final roll? Because we do have a 4th member. Currently, Paul is away. But when we roll, we're going to roll for the number of slots for the game. So can I have Ed roll me 2d6 then 2d6, please?
It is your mission, so you get to roll twice.
Yeah, that's why.
Oh, thank you very much. 5-3, then 5-4.
5-3, 5-4.
Don't
Okay.
think we've had a 5.
So this one's slightly different. And when you open the second, almost identical looking one, you can see that it's a different type of missile. And the second that you can see the some of the markings along the length of it, you realize you've got something that is... You should imagine there was some brag factor for this. This is a proton missile.
Oh dear.
Yeah. This causes a form of subcellular energy. When this thing goes off, there's an initial blast, but then there is an energy release akin to radiation that leaves that place a death zone for hours, days. You don't know. You've never used one of these. Even the Empire themselves consider these to be a somewhat of a war crime to use one of them. They don't like using them because normally they like to go in, kill everybody, take things for themselves, take land for themselves, take facilities for themselves. This pretty much is salt the soil and reduce everything to ash. Over the course of X number of time, the proton weapon will burn itself out, but everything will be useless. You won't be able to grow anything here. All of the material will basically just crumble into ash or dissociate in other ways. You know that some criminals amongst the Black Sun have used weapons like this to, normally in the form of satchel bombs, to completely get rid of any evidence of something that they may have done that even other criminals would have.
I was about to say, if we ever need to get rid of another listening post, we have an option.
Oh.
Yes. Now that is a disgusting piece of technology.
Yeah. After this thing goes off, you'll be able
Keep
to
it
break down
away
the
from
walls of the
Chevron.
facility with a toothbrush. It's it will basically fuck all cellular structure and all matter within the area.
Beautiful.
Useful, but keep it away from Chevron, especially if he's drunk.
Yeah.
It has the same type of deployment mechanism as the Iron Missile.
We will very carefully load all of that onto It's lucky we found a
Bike.
a van.
Flatbed, yeah.
Flatbed, that's the word.
Yeah. However, those are the special items that you find. You also find 12 blaster carbines.
12.
Yeah. Loop bombs go up depending on what level you are, and there's no leveling this, so I've had to kind of finger in the air this. Things of note, you find a holo recorder, which seems to be fairly robust. You find a portable power core. It's the size of a briefcase and could power a small building for 24 hours. You find a flamethrower. You find a what is like a corking gun full of thermal paste. So that's if you want to blow open a vault or something like that.
So when you say thermal paste, you don't mean like on your CPU?
No, I mean thermal paste as in, what's that stuff?
Thermite paste.
Like thermite paste, yeah, the one where they kind of put it around in a circle. And
Thank you, because I was very confused there. It's like I was like, wait, what does thermal?
I hope I'm not putting thermite paste on my CPU.
Yeah. What does that have to do with anything?
Switch on the CPU and it just explodes.
Ooh.
White hot metal everywhere. It would be eventful, put it that way.
Don't play with
You
my
get
heart like that.
a clutch of micro rockets, but you don't have the weapon to launch them. But you do have, you have a feeling that the weapon to launch them was probably destroyed in amongst the other junk. But you have 30 micro rockets.
Holy!
Well, I know where I can get something that can fire these.
Well, it's right here.
Oh no, the micro rocket launcher is.
Yeah, micro rockets won't launch from those from the one shots fly-by wires that you've got there. These are the rockets that you'll find on Mandalorian suits and other such things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is a bounty hunter weapon.
Yeah,
I've read the bounty hunter book. I know what this is.
They're the size of a can of Coke. Put it that way. They are small, but they are devastating. You've got a gun nut ship. What else have I got? I've got a grappling gun. I've got
that could be useful for you.
You've got one already, but have another one. A draw flash stick.
Mm-hmm.
A remote droid. So these hunters had like it's a drone. For all intents and purposes, it's a drone. You have an entire crate of NutriPack Yellow. Apparently, they were big into their energy foods. Have I got everything from there? Oh, no, I left the rest till last. A thermal detonator.
Lovely.
Those we do like.
Give JT more toys.
Yeah, so you can see that this is basically guns and ammo vomited all over the set.
Well, they
courtesy
did
of
seem like the correct people to be into guns and ammo, so I suppose it makes sense.
I want to
At least
make sure
one of them had
taste.
taste. I say, looking at the sword. At least one of them had taste.
What's carbonite like as a cutting edge?
What is it like, Simon?
It's fairly strong. It's very, very dense.
It can cut through most things.
It's not as good as a vibroblade. In fact, I wouldn't recommend using it against anything other than organic beings. So yeah, I mean, a vibroblade would be able to, and it's at the end of the Mandalorian. There's a scene where somebody uses a vibroblade to cut a section out of a metal plate.
Yes.
So those are good. I wouldn't recommend doing it with a carbonite blade. Depending what metal you hit, the blade would shatter. It is thunderable, so it's not so well made that it can't be sundered. It's more of a good killing weapon rather than, like, say, for example, a duel.
Are you able to bring it down into its liquid form and reform it into the blade shape? Might be useful if you can do that for stealth missions, where that thing pointing at the huge fuck off sword. I don't know too much about carbonite.
Well, neither do I, but it's pretty decent craftsmanship, all things considered.
We can get Elsner to have a look at it when we get back.
Oh, I know someone else over at the asteroid who's better at swords.
Fair. Yeah, Elsner is very
He does guns,
yeah.
which is good. We need those too sometimes. Especially on the ship.
Help me with this big thing.
I got the thermal paste wrong, so it's a chemical putty that can ignite or serve as a source of fire in an emergency. It can burn whilst it's wet, and it doesn't need any additional fuel. It contains everything it needs, so it's a full fire triangle. So it works a lot like thermite in that sense, because thermite carries its own oxygen.
Yep.
Can burn for an hour at the intensity of a campfire in any atmosphere without additional fuel. So you could set a fire in the depths of space. You could do it underwater. You could do it in a planet that would otherwise not allow for a fire, which means that you could make a signal flare out of this stuff, even in an environmentless moon. You can use it to to ignite things as part of the trigger as well. So it's generally useful. It's basically I don't need to roll to set something on fire or whatever. Every self-respecting arsonist should have one. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Lovely. Will the I forgot the name of the thing again. The pickup carry all of this stuff?
Yes.
Lovely. We will
Quite happily
take some
take one.
time to load it all, and I will find a clean sabak deck if there is one.
Yep. There are chance cubes, sabbat deck, clothes, good pairs of boots that are still in the lockers that haven't been used. There is a lot of stuff that I'm not talking about because you're at a level now where the level of money that you've got, there are things that you would expect in this. So regular knives, for example, I've not talked about. There are lots of regular knives like Bowie knives and things. Wood axes, survival tools, anything along those lines that you would expect a bunch of survivalists to have and hunters to have, they would have. Camo nets that they can throw over anything. So if there's anything like that in particular you think would be useful, you can just narratively say, I have it. Or if you want, you can potentially use vigilance later on to say, oh yeah, I threw that in with the other stuff.
I'm just getting a very nice looking sabak deck. Just something pretty.
Yeah.
And also something
most of what they have is pretty good, actually. If Chevron was here, I would have to get him to roll to see if he could find like a cool jacket or a hat or something like that. Whereas you guys don't seem to care that much about, getting a decent hunter's hat. I'm sure that he would end up.
It's hard to get one that fits properly, because for all that Star Wars has a lot of strong people, they don't have enough hench people.
Yeah.
It's too much slim and carrying a light blaster.
Yeah.
Light blasters, lightsabers, everything is light.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna bring up the henchest of henchest people. We're gonna look at Victoria for a bit.
Sounds good.
There we go.
I mean, like, you'd expect there to be more hench people, but no.
Yeah. It's why we put in the Belashar as like, yay, we've managed to get an entire hench race in there. Although you've got the Deveronians. Deveronians are hench as fuck, they just don't get much screen time.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean,
but
also,
all the humans you ever see, they're slim.
They are body beautiful models rather than people who've got a bit of substance. I mean, I think the most hench Jedi, even though there is a Deveronian Jedi, I can't remember his name, but the henchest is basically Mace Windu. And
I'd argue Kit Fisto, but
he's decent too. He's decent.
Yeah. I'll go with that.
He's the Nautilin.
Oh yeah.
But again,
he's not
Kit
human
is,
though.
Yeah, Kit is fat.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think we were going for that. I think we were going for hench in general rather than just hench humans. But yes, the majority of humans certainly aren't that hench. And I say Kit is more of a whirling dervish of a Jedi. With the are they tentacles? Are they considered tentacles?
I think they are called Leku still.
I think
Leku is just a general term because I know what's like Shakti and Ahsoka, that Togruta, they are definitely called Leku.
Yeah. Oh, they're called Leku. Okay. Yeah. So whenever I think of Kit, I think of Leku swinging through the air. He's swishy. He's not exactly hench.
Fair.
So you loot the place of whatever you would like inside. If there's anything that is just for flavor's sake. And presumably carry on to the second ranch.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. The second ranch, you can see, has a set of cages that are open and off to one side. You can see that there is the heavily gnawed bones of a body on the floor. Is anybody interested in the body?
Oh yeah. I mean, I want to piece together.
I mean, my character is. I am trying.
Someone give me a medical. Diff. It would normally be 1, but with the advanced degradation, it's diff 2.
Yeah. No.
I
keep looking for these intellect skills, even though I know I've got no skill in any intellect skills.
Well, you might get lucky.
Yeah. So yeah, you can say that there's a lot of gnawed bones, and you don't really look too much beyond that. So yeah, you can see that there are a number of cages. The cages seem to be thinner. As in, they are meant for the transit, but they're not meant for keeping them for very long. And they all have remote opening devices on them. So basically, they would have brought the cages out, and then from a safe distance, pressed a button and all the cages would have opened, which meant that they were meant for immediate deployment, whereas all the other cages were effectively small habitats until they were ready to release them.
Right.
Cool.
You can see around the cages there are some expended sedation cartridges as well, which probably would have been to keep them calm during the journey. But you have a feeling that this was pick them up, take them here, open the cages, and fuck off.
Right. Sorry, I missed a detail. This is a ship or a speeder or a.
This is a set of cages. The ship is long gone.
Bless you.
Yes, a set of cages. The ship is long gone.
Okay, cool. Right, so it's cages that have been dropped by a ship, probably, kind of thing.
Not dropped, probably that they landed, rolled them out, and then they probably could have pulled the landing ramp up, pressed the button, and opened the cages whilst they were safely inside the ship.
Right, that makes sense. Yep.
It doesn't look like they were delivered like your other animals would have been delivered. These were delivered for immediate deployment.
Okay. Any kind of tracks or anything that have survived? I doubt there'd be tracks from like the original release, but there might be some around anyway.
Give me 2 rolls: survival at diff 2 and survival at diff 3.
Diff 2 success, diff 3 fail.
Okay, so as you're looking around, you can see on the diff 2 that some creatures have been around recently. You are suspecting that some of them are Vonskia.
Eyes out. Seems like we've had Vonskia here recently.
Yeah, certainly within the last 2 days.
Right.
The other thing that you can see is some jubberbirds have been around here as well.
Yeah,
it may even be that the Vonskia were hunting the jubberbirds.
Yeah, I'll mention that to the group, but there's no need to be careful about them. We can deal with them.
Yeah.
Onward, I guess. No, wait. If they've got kind of remote signal things, there might be some data in them, because I'm trawling everything for data at the moment.
Yeah,
X4.
X4 gives them a cursory glance and basically says it's a receiver and a switch. It doesn't have any. It doesn't have any extra. Yeah.
It's not Internet of Things.
Worth a shot. Yeah. It was worth a shot. Yeah. You can see that this was more of a staging post rather than anything else. It does have a cabin. The cabin is half the size of the one that you went in before. It seems to be completely cleared out and burned out as well. So the second you look on the inside, it looks like somebody threw in some sort of Molotov cocktail Everything inside is fucked.
Great.
Interesting.
Great. Would I know if there's any kind of central server under like any cabins or anything like that?
I'm just answering in chat. Yes, we are playing the Genesis system because the Genesis system is fucking amazing. And welcome, Tim Nerds Out.
Hello, Tim. We're very sorry that we're a bit out of it today because we're having a heat wave in the UK.
Kicking our ass.
We have no aircon and therefore we are dying.
So yeah, this is Mission 9 Part 1 at the moment. Yeah, you know that the lodge on this Safari planet would have had a central server, but it would have been one of the first things they would have removed if there was anybody who was leaving here. You would have gone and looked at it yourself, but it probably would have locked down because they had the client confidentiality and things like that, and it wouldn't have been a particularly effective server as well. In fact, you covered it last session. I know it was a couple of weeks ago, but you remember when X4 tried to go and sort out the communication station?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was fucked? That was the de facto server for the launch.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
So yeah,
I can live with that.
you've already met it.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Give me a again. This is going into JT's expertise. Can you please give me a piloting bracket space? And the diff on this is going to be 3.
Luckily, I'm quite good at that.
Boom. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you recognize certain imprints. The grass is grown in on it all. This was probably cleared out hastily, and so they didn't lay down any form of clinker or anything like that on the floor for when the ship landed, and so they would have compressed the soil. And so by looking at how the vegetation grew back in, you're able to determine the size and distance between the landing struts, and you recognize the white van of space, a 1300.
Don't want it.
That
A
is
YT
such a
1300.
clue.
These were delivered by a whitey.
That's almost entirely useless.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
Trying to
did
find a
that.
YT 1300 owned by someone in Star Wars.
Yes. Sorry, white van of space, they're everywhere.
I mean, that's why you buy them.
Everyone-
That's why you buy them.
everyone has
Oh yeah,
one.
complete deniability. That's why your first ship, the Crazy Hair, was such a good choice. It's a case of, oh, it was a YT 1300. Anything about it? No, it just looked like a YT 1300. Unless you've got the transponder code, you know fuck all about that shit.
Yeah. By the way, YT300, which by people that might not know all the Star Wars terms, it's the Millennium Falcon model.
Yeah. So for those
The
who don't know,
Millennium Falcon, for all its hype and amazingness in the Star Wars canon, is a white van of space.
It's very boring.
Han Solo went around in the equivalent of a Luton van. Even worse, it was a Luton van that he did up.
I've never thought about it like that.
Yeah, he went around in a modded Luton van, which is just, it just completely de-romanticizes hands for me. But anyway, yeah. So you, I guess it's something you could potentially confirm later on if you kind of like, oh, what ship did they take to that thing? Oh, it was a 1300. Oh, well, okay, you know. That's the only saving grace, is that you don't recall many 1300s coming to this planet. Normally, they used to be very spoilt brat ships, and even the what you call it, the vessels that used to bring the animals for hunting. They would be the ones that look like carrying luggage, were they?
I've just had a thought.
That's dangerous. What is it?
I know. That's the
dangerous,
clacking
right?
sound. It seems like, since this is Safari, there might be trail cams about.
Possibly.
Cameras that are designed to, take photos when something walks past them.
Yeah.
And maybe some...
Still working.
I'm not sure. They'd probably be quite hidden. And perhaps whoever... I know it was, I can't remember the exact timings. I can't remember exactly how long ago. Maybe 5-10 years ago, something like that. Wait, it was 5-10 years ago you found me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but probably around 5, 7, maybe. I don't know
We'll
how
call it
old
7.
these
We
characters.
will say 7.
7, yes,
There we go.
7.
Decided.
Yeah,
Canon,
decided.
7.
I don't
Nice.
know how old our characters are. I haven't decided. We're probably in our 30s somewhere.
I'm super old.
Yeah, you're super old, but
Yeah.
the
You're a
organics.
droid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah, I was thinking around early 30s. So.
Yeah, so that makes sense. We'll found you when we were quite young and just going around going, wee! It was like, oh!
Yeah, your bulk animal deliveries were normally brought by Action 6 bulk transports. And they are the blocky little bastards that have the weird handle on top for no reason whatsoever.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, but yes, let's see if we
So
can find
did you hear
cameras.
the question about trail cameras?
Trail cameras. So you know that they were used. Now that you specifically are looking for them, you know that they would have been the equivalent of that remote droid that you found. That one wasn't used. But yes, it would have been a remote droid that had such a simple droid brain that you can't even talk to it. You have to just kind of hack it or slice it, to use the correct term. You either had to slice it or find its control module. But you could technically go hunting for a remote droid. One of the nice things about the remote droids is that they were almost entirely solar, because they would be responsible for doing things like scouting entire planets. And they're kind of the smaller brother of the weird sensor droid that looks like a floating metal octopus.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if they were intentionally trying to cover their tracks, I'm thinking of oversights they may have made. So I guess we'll
mostly because they're flying around, they won't really have much in the way of tracks. I must admit, I'm struggling as to how I would find them other than using a ship sensor. Or a portable sensor rig that you've set to look for metal.
Trying to think if we've got anything with us, but actually most of it's at home, not actually in our ship. So
well, an accomplished slicer could probably use a communications relay to send out a return home command.
We might save that for later then.
Yeah, it would because you don't know the models of droids, or at least you have to cover a number of models of droids. You're probably looking Diff 4 or Diff 5.
Okay, so that we can put that as one of the last things we do before we leave.
Yeah.
I'm just making a note of that so I don't forget it next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a fucking amazing idea. I like that. That's actually good roleplay thinking, actually.
I get one in this heat.
Yes,
I'm out for the rest of the game.
That's good because I just zoned out for felt like 10 minutes. It was probably 2, but I missed what the conversation. I know we're looking for trail cameras. I missed completely what Simon was saying.
Basically, it would be super hard to find them, but possible if we rejig our communications rig to send out a come home signal.
Ooh.
Like Diff 4 or 5 for X4. But possible.
A simple RTB command, but kind of sending out several of them as a kind of fake override commands to bring them back. I mean, bear in mind, you're asking a camera to come back to the lodge. It's not asking a security droid to fuck off from its post. So it's not going to be too difficult, but it's going to be fairly difficult.
Yeah,
I'd say it's probably going to be like a 4.
Can I try a perception roll? It's going to be like diff 7 or something, but...
What, to just find one off the bat?
To see if there's anyone close by, yes.
No, just kind of like, I perceive somewhere on the planet. No. It's such a wide thing that just looking with your eyes is not...
Okay, so that they're not like here, there would be like a wide area where they are.
Oh, they would either be doing a set patrol route, or they would be near the dead bodies of their former owners. Because, again, really, really, really stupid droid brain. They would know simple tricks, like if the canopy was obscuring the sun and they were running out of power, they would either go to their docking station if the docking station was working, or they would find a place where they could use their solar cells to keep going. Or they would be following pre-programmed patrol routes to collect data. Normally to collect data to do things like study the animals, study their movements and their habits and things. So yeah, it's entirely possible that they're still out there just generally flying around stalking animals. So just a load of animals feeling really self-conscious because there's this metal thing that just keeps following them. But yeah, so that would be
their job.
Yeah.
Just no one has told them to stop.
Yeah, little dumb droid. Yeah, that's what it is. You know, really not that innovative.
Question: even if they're that stupid, is there any possibility of them of developing a personality because they don't get wiped? Much like JT.
No, they are so dumb that they don't degrade like a fully sentient droid. Sentient droids have a complexity by which they keep storing and processing, and after a while their mind starts to go to fuzz, which is why you should wipe your droids on a regular basis, apparently, according to canon. But if you're just a flying camera and it's like, I go here, I record, I go here, I record, and you don't have to innovate at all or problem solve at all, then you don't have to worry about that. You're such a simple device that you don't have to worry about that complexity. You don't need wiping because you're effectively in a constant state of wipe.
Well, it's not really. It doesn't have the complex programming to really give it that any sort of intelligence. It's literally like
it can't talk. It can't make decisions beyond plotting routes and following particular orders that were given to it implicitly, and not just a general, go over there, JT. JT will plot a route and decide whether it's safe and all the rest of it. These will... Or
he might just say no.
Or he might just turn around and say no because he has independence and sentience. With these, if you tell one of these to just fly into a volcano, they will carry on flying into the lava, sending back every detail until they burn out.
So yeah, JT will at this point turn to the group and say, I'm not sure how much else there is to find here. We'll do a last sweep of this area. And did we go to... Yes, we did go to the area, like the camp where I was when this all went down, didn't we? That was where the memory came back. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that was the house where you were like initially... I don't know if we found you there or if we found you in a camp you made somewhere else.
When you found me, it was in a camp with I think a distress beacon I'd like hacked together.
Yeah. With your one intelligence going, please work.
Yeah, that's why it took so long.
Yeah.
And also, we are in the middle of bumfuck nowhere.
Yeah.
So any ships going past, like, it was probably a really weak signal as well. So that's why it took ages.
Yeah.
But
so
we got someone to answer it, and you found us.
Did indeed.
Yes.
You found friends.
Yeah.
I suggest we do a last sweep of here, then head back. We've got enough information to start investigating on kind of coming at it from other angles. I'm not sure how much else the planet can tell us. It seems to have swallowed a lot of the evidence.
No, but it looks like there was some kind of... But yeah, did you tell us about your red mist thing, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like they
Betrayal.
like some sort of betrayal, and with something to do with the Empire, maybe.
I don't think it sounds like betrayal. I think it sounds like a bounty hunt without the bounty. A hunt. That's the word.
Yes.
Just a hunt.
Just a hunt.
There's a series of happy cheeps and whistles behind you as X4.
Wait. I have it.
Oh.
Why haven't
Do
I
we
done?
have it?
Yes. Where is he? Where is he? Wait. He is on the ship. Starship Sampan. Oh God, I am.
We'll get there eventually.
There we go. We got it.
As X4 cheeps a little tune to himself, happily working, a series of small arms with small tools on the end of them pop out of his chest, and he starts cutting away the remote locks. And suddenly you hear a wow as he breaks the locks one at a time, not managing to get a single one.
That's unfortunate.
All dice have cancelled them. And you watch as pacing angrily, you hear beep, 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 kind of thing, and it's just muttering to himself with stupid locks. Who the hell makes a stupid lock that way? You know, and yeah, it's just muttering to himself about the poor quality of the locks.
Victoria, do you want to use your universal lockpick?
Yes.
Oh, they're all broken now.
Oh, they're all
aren't they?
broken. Yeah, all of the cages were open. He was trying to harvest the locks and didn't get a single one.
Okay. I thought he was trying to get in somewhere. I'm like, okay, let's use the universal lockpick.
Yeah, the setback dice managed to finish him off. As many failures as successes exactly. Just one success and he would have got one lock and could have got some shred of dignity back, but instead just the little pacing, angry astromech.
To be fair, that's a brutal roll to roll against. That's 5 failures on the dice.
That was just like...
Yeah, but he had 5 successes. He only just failed. It was... it happens sometimes. The will of the dice. So, is there anything that you want to do here before I get Corinne to read her phone?
We're going to do a last kind of once-over, trawling everything, seeing if anything was maybe thrown free from the cabin when it was firebombed, but I doubt it.
Okay.
Just doing a once-over.
I'll allow a survival check for this, because this is like a fingertip search of the foliage around the sides.
Yeah.
Go.
Any diff?
I'm going to be a git. Choose your diff.
Yeah.
So much to gain if you are willing to.
I'm going to risk a diff 3.
Ooh, good.
Damn it.
Damn it.
That's what he wanted you to do.
Okay.
Can I
couple of
also have a
advantages.
look over if it's...
No. What's that?
Is it to have a look over with perception and so far in that case? I would also...
It was
have-
survival.
You could have given him. You could have given him a blue, I guess.
Yeah, I want to help him. Give him a blue.
Roll a blue on top of that, JT.
I found out a new thing. I can modify the dice pool, and it does the same roll, but with the extra thing.
Oh.
It's a very cool thing.
It gained an extra advantage.
Yeah.
So you didn't succeed, but you got rid of a failure, and you got extra advantage. Okay. So you don't find what you would have got on a diff 3, which is a shame. But diff 3 was the start of the good ship. So well done for going for that. What you do find is a
Why do I roll 3?
is a tiny. What you do find is something that seems a little out of place, JT. You pick up a small, slender, pen-like handle, and by the looks of it, the micro energy cell at its base is still charged, being that it hasn't been used. It doesn't look like it's being thrown out by the blast. More a case of that when this thing went up, somebody maybe just running away from the blaze or caught unaware by it or something like that, moved in such a way that they either dropped this from their hand or their pocket or whatever, knocked it off maybe a surface, but not that there's any surfaces near it. You press the button because you're pretty sure you know what this is. And as you press it, a needle about the size of this pencil shoots out and starts to vibrate. This is a vibro needle. It is a very easily concealed assassin's weapon that requires stealth rather than combat skills. And the whole point is that you would go up to somebody, get in their personal space without them knowing, so it requires a lot. You would put it on the back of their head, you would press the needle, and it would effectively just put a vibro needle through the skull of the person involved. It is almost entirely used by criminal element.
I am going to quietly pocket that. How common are these things?
They are typically used by incredibly well accomplished martial artists or sneak bounty hunters or poser criminals who don't know. It's the butterfly knife of space where,
right, yeah.
Most of the damage done by it are dickheads flicking it in front of the mirror.
Okay. I was just thinking would it be... So it's like as prevalent as butterfly knives are?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I couldn't like trace it back to an owner kind of thing.
Actually, I'll revise that. Probably the common equivalent of the butterfly knife is probably the vibro knife. This is probably like top of the range poser shit.
Okay.
Or top of the range bounty hunter specialist shit.
Right.
Looking at it, because it's such a simple design and it's so small, and it's so, it is, as I say, a thin handle that fires out a needle that vibrates the second.
Yeah.
But it actually starts vibrating as it's leaving the handle. Yeah, you're pretty sure that this is indistinguishable from the posers to the people who would maybe keep it on them just to use in the right situation. Nobody would ever consider this their primary weapon. It's more a quick, quiet takedown tool.
So JT's going to pocket that just in case he needs it in the right situation.
Yeah,
Of course.
Yeah,
that's a very JT thing.
So unless you can kind of get engaged with somebody who trusts you, or sneak up to somebody to the point where you don't breathe, but you would ordinarily be breathing down their neck, it requires a master of stealth. This is ninja. This is
I've
ninja
sank a
vibro.
fair amount of XP into stealth.
I was going to say, he's pretty good at stealth. We might not be, and right now, definitely not, but he is.
What's stealth? You walk up to someone and you challenge them to a duel, and then you kill them.
Yeah. You stab
If
them
they're
hard.
aware of you, you end up adding 5 black to the roll. Because it's just not meant for being used in battle. It's meant to be used unawares. However, if someone grapples and restrains somebody, then that black gets reduced down to 2 rather than 5.
Okay, so after that...
Exactly, Jordan. Stealth is where you wave your hand in front of your own face.
Yeah, that's what you found out yesterday.
Oh, I thought you were going for John Cena. You can't see me.
Yeah. No, it's a reference to yesterday we played our pirate game, which is the 10-parter, and my character was trying to teach Jordan's character how to stealth properly, and he thought that doing this was great because you all know.
Nice.
We had an evening. Lucky for them, they have a druid on the team.
Which has
pass without a trace is a thing.
Yeah, and we learned that the idea that I've had some really bad ideas, but the idea of getting the viewers involved was not a bad idea. We had some good fun.
Nice.
Yeah. So, standing there, you pocket the needle, and Nima, as you're looking round,
Hi.
you do spot something. Please read your phone.
You sent me a thing.
DM note passing.
Yeah, I did say earlier, before I get Corinne to read her phone.
Yep, I spotted it.
Yeah, I heard it.
It was in response to another comment that was made. Obviously, that comment's long gone, so just adapt it to whatever you want.
We may have to stay here for a short while longer. You see, we're surrounded.
Oh yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I was waiting for this.
Nemo looks up and sees several pairs of eyes in the brush. And that, as in rolling initiative, is going to be how we start our next session.
Thank you.
And these are intelligent creatures as well, so I'm looking forward.
It's been too much talking. I need to stop.
It's more
Too
stabbing
much
time.
talking, not enough slicing. I thought I'd end on a kind of conciliatory reassurance of Felicia. It's like, you're about to kill some shit now.
Yeah, we've done the heavy investigation work on the hottest day.
Yes.
We would have done probably some of the fights if we didn't have the loot bomb, but oh my god, what a cool loot bomb.
Oh yeah, that's it.
I like the loot bomb.
It
You
just made
are
me think,
forgiven from depriving me of stabbing.
Yes.
Yeah, what if our ship was shot down? What would it look like
Yeah.
to someone else coming and finding
For
us?
one thing, all of this would be on it now. So.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Well, they
My
would find
entire
Victoria's awesome sword.
Yeah, there'll be an awesome sword. There'll be some.
Yeah.
pretty
There'll
cool
be a
blasters.
droid who is more gun than droid.
I mean, the droid would probably, as long as you don't get, you're probably the one most likely to survive, a shutdown. And then, not starving as well.
Well, starving is not an issue when you can kill things and then eat them.
Yeah.
This is kind of relevant. We got a couple of minutes, so I've told this to some of the guys before. But back when I was playing D&D 4th edition, we decided to make almost cheesy heroic characters.
Oh,
And
you told us.
yeah, I know.
No, it's good. I was just I know which one.
One of the things that the character I played in this holier than holy, cleaner than clean party is I played a half-orc paladin called Samael. And in 4th edition, you could build a paladin that actually did himself damage in order to do more damage. So he had a daily ability where you did yourself 5 hit points of damage, but then did 5 times your weapon your weapon damage if you'd hit. And basically, you swung your two-handed weapon so hard, you tore your own muscles. So zealotous was this guy. We were very low level. I think we were level 1 or 2, and we went up against some. I think it was kobolds and bugbears. Don't know why they were working together, but we went up against those. And this was DM'd by the lovely Mike Hargreaves, or Eliod's DM. That's ELIODEDM on Twitter. He's fantastic, by the way, at Paranoia Games. Was actually part of the writing team for one of the Paranoia books way back when. So he runs the thing, and we go off doing our heroic stuff. We were all lawful stupid or stupid good, depending on your point of view. And we all died terribly. Myself.
Wasn't it against an aboleth, I think?
Hmm?
You said, I think you told it was an aboleth that you
No,
died to?
this one wasn't an aboleth.
Okay.
This was a bugbear commander and some bugbears and some kobolds.
Oh, so quite low.
So we they
were stupid, so
So we all got killed to a man, and we had some pretty badass characters. We even had a Minotaur barbarian who was all about nature and cuddling the pretty animals in the forest and stuff. So, we all went to one side and we were just like, fuck, those were all like henched up characters, man. We rolled some good stats for them as well. So we decided that we were going to do the exact opposite. And we came in with the most self-serving, selfish, arsehole, evil characters that we could think of. I played a 4th edition assassin, which is different to a rogue. Instead of being a subsector rogue, it was actually a shadow magic fighter who could teleport into the shadows of their foes and out of the shadows of another foe, and just kind of bounce around the battlefield like Night Stalker. We had a shaman. We had another form of nasty sword blade person, and basically everybody had a form of either high damage or control. So we ended up going in there and we murdered the fuck out of him. Even though he reset the encounter, we murderized the entire lot, largely because we were being more tactical in that we were telling each other to go forward and sacrifice themselves for the greater good, because we were all evil. And because none of us stepped forward, we all stayed together. We didn't split the party over the battlefield, and we won. So the DM, Mike, thought it was a good idea to eulogize our previous party, and said, "Yeah, you can see there's a half orc and plate mail." And I was like, "Oh, it's Samael." And he went through it all and described all the characters. The Minotaur was dead, the High Elf was dead, all the rest of it. At which point, the evil characters went, "Hey, Minotaur," and ate the Minotaur as an after-battle snack. Because beef, right? So, ended up eating one of our previous characters, at which point Mike was like, "I don't like these characters. Can you roll up again, please?"
Please no cannibalism, please.
It's just when you were mentioning if anybody found our dead party, what would they do? It's like, it depends on the party.
I mean,
it totally depends on the party.
No question.
Yeah, loot us. Like, we're dead. We're not using our stuff anymore. Please loot us. But...
Weirdly, one of the ideas that I had, largely because I have the lovely Felicia as a information source, I said before I would never run Force and Destiny because Jedi, man. Star Wars has got one Jedi story, unless I want to go pre Yevon and all the rest of it. At which point I've got to know about all of the Old Republic stuff and all the rest of it. There's a lot to learn.
Yeah, so Old Jedi Order is complicated as fuck, and we're not even getting into the whole cult of Revan, who was a Jedi, but he was also a Sith. But he switched side like several times, going from Jedi to Sith to Jedi, and he...
Yeah, fucking swing voters. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, so I was like, I could never do a Jedi story, and then went, I quite like the idea of doing a Sith story. And of course, as I say, I've got Felicia on board for that. Now, the downside to that is that I would not want to do a completely evil story, which is why I'm fascinated with the Gensarai, because the Gensarai were neither good nor evil. They took...
You should read up on the Cult of Revan. I think you would like that, actually. Yeah. I wouldn't want to go in the direction of the Grey Jedi, but I would. I like the idea of Kyle Katarn. Yeah, Kyle Katarn did the same thing as Mace Windu of threading the thing. Put it this way: everybody having a purple lightsaber effect. Yes.
Yeah. Because that means something.
That means so much.
Yeah. People who are treading the line, and what I like the idea of is maybe doing maybe a post-Ren. No, is it Ren or Rey?
Rey.
A post-Rey extension canon where we know the history, everybody knows the history, and that you're just a bunch of people who have been brought together by the Force, that you are full Force users, not Force sensitives, but full Force users. And you're trying to eke it out, but you're being tempted by the dark side of the Force and the light side of the Force. Now that I've done enough of the Edge of Empire, and I will still go back to the Edge of Empire, it's still my favorite out of the three. Because I just love dusty spaces and stuff. You guys have accelerated into having tons of toys, but I would like to do another Edge of Empire where there's more struggling to survive,
We're quest givers now.
Yeah.
Soon you'll become quest givers. Yeah.
Okay,
if anything, you've done what I did in D&D, and that is, and I think I did that in Werewolf as well, where the first campaign was a milk run. They got OP very, very quickly and went, that's okay, you're canonical now. You know, all your characters are just canonical. Yeah. So going to Chevron's bar, finding the grizzled droid sat in a clearing on an otherwise unoccupied planet with the whole kind of, gruff drawl of going, so you want to go on a hunt? That kind of thing. Having this old couple, one of them the force sensitive Twi'lek, the other one the kind of Cohen the Barbarian, for those who know the reference, but female and kind of sat there. She's getting on her long braid, still uncut, is white, and
it's because of how hair works, it will be like blonde at the bottom and then white as it goes.
Yeah, maybe sun bleached at the bottom, maybe, but still a vestige of gold in it. And that's probably how I describe it: sun bleached, but with a vestige of gold or blonde in there. Your characters will become canonical, I guess. And then just have it so that post Rey, there's just a bunch of new Force users that are just trying to get their way, and maybe some of you will kind of go more towards the dark and some towards the light, but maybe even having it so that you've never even heard the word Jedi or Sith before.
Could be an interesting concept, at least.
I mean,
I would find it kind of fun.
I mean, after Rey, especially they did kind of, the Red Jedi did get a bit more light with Sith and stuff. Anyway, it's probably time to go because I'm about to die.
I need to cool down myself. A big thank you to everybody there watching, and
thanks for watching this clusterfuck of an episode.
I had a good idea.
Oh dear. Yeah, you did have a good idea.
You had your quota,
lots of zoning out and dying.
We were present.
It was hot, but you kind of got through to the point where you can, carry on with this mission. So we got enough done. It's fine. So a big thank you to everybody watching. Thank you, Hermit, Jordan. I know Tim is gone, but I hope you come back to at some point. Thank you to Prime for hanging out with us as well. Our next game, hopefully a cooler game, is going to be on Friday night at 8 p.m. till 11 p.m. British scorching summertime. Where we rejoin Corinne, Felicia, because they are permanent fixtures.
Shall never be rid of us.
Kate and Nick for our next session of The Benefactor. And until then, give us a shout on Discord. Shoot the shit. Complain about the weather. Complain about the heat. If you're playing any cool games at the moment,
so many times in this episode, but guys, we promise that's not all we talk about in the Discord.
We're usually a lot better than this.
Yeah. If there's any games that you're playing that is multiplayer and you want to play with some of the chaotics, give us an invite. You never know. We've been playing Don't Starve Together, and with some of the guys we've played No Man's Sky.
We have starved a few times in Don't Starve Together, by the way.
We have starved so many times in Don't Starve.
We've burnt down the entire camp and the nearby forest a few times as well. So,
only I can cause forest fires.
No, I did that. I did that on my first outing. So.
Well, yes,
it's only you.
It's my job.
Why did Jordan give me a 5-star? Really? Has he met me? But anyway.
Anyways, we're having a lot of fun. We're hanging out with people, so please join us.
Yeah, it is a game community. There's a reason why we're called Chaotic Neutral Games. It's not just role playing. So
You
yeah,
do loads of
got an idea
stuff,
for
and
that,
who
go for
knows? If you're active enough, you might be invited to a game.
Yeah, definitely. And we are looking out actually for a temporary fourth person while Sprawl is away for this campaign, albeit that this campaign is coming to a head.
Yeah, we're getting a
this,
little bit too powerful, and I have several ideas for my next character already.
And next time you're going to be in worse situations. You're not going to have access to as much funds. Bear in mind, this was a bunch of casual games that we just threw together for whenever we wanted to get our Star Wars on. Next time it will be a properly planned out campaign.
Yeah, because this is just us messing around.
Yeah, it won't be the Jedi Sith one that I just mentioned. That's just an idea I had literally today. But
it will probably happen at some point when Simon has sat down with me and we have talked Jedi and Sith and the light and dark side of the Force for like 70 hours.
The next Star Wars campaign, and we'll probably do some stuff in between the end of this one and the beginning of the next one, will be another Edge of the Empire spacer type thing. It may not be in the Sprawl. I quite like the idea of, well, I'll tell you already, it's going to feature, instead of having one central ship, it will have it, we're just wrapping up this year. It will be that everybody has their own ship, so it will be a fighter fort next time.
Yeah, that could be pretty cool.
If one person wants a bigger ship so that they have basically the ship that all the others dock into, that I'm happy to negotiate.
Oh, everybody needs piloting skill then?
Yes, it will be a bunch of pilots. It will be a mercenary wing of fighter pilots.
Yeah, I can work with that.
That's going to be the next campaign for Star Wars. So, thank you very much for this. This campaign is not over yet. They still have Darth Solaris to track down.
The campaign is going to end when I get my lightsaber. I'm so sad. Anyway.
Well, it depends which direction you guys go in. It's like a choose your own adventure series.
Who knows?
Everyone,
when you get a corrupted lightsaber, you might switch to what side of the Force you like.
Yeah, probably not.
Anyway, we're going to wrap up because we could talk about this all night, and probably we'll talk about this off air. So we're going to say goodnight to you all now. Take care of yourself. Keep cool. Keep hydrated. And we will see you Friday night.
Bye.
Night.